Hi there, this is Lee McQueen, and I'm just signing in to say that every time someone tells me that a vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Donald Trump, I'm going to respond by saying a vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for the Trans-Pacific Partnership. A vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for mass incarceration. A vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for a no-fly zone over Syria. A vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for regime change. A vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for fossil fuel dependence. That's what I'm going to say because it's true. I've already talked about gaslighting, and the way you fight gaslighting is with your own narrative, your own storyline, and the truth. The truth also helps, especially when you're dealing with someone who doesn't even know what truth is. Liars hate the truth. And so every time I hear that or see that or read that, that's going to be my response. A vote for Hillary Clinton is a vote for Trans-Pacific Partnership, regime change, military interventions, mass incarceration, death, destruction, suffering. That's what a vote for Hillary Clinton is. Let alone her criminal investigations, her lawsuits, her deceptions, her cons, her frauds that are piling up shoulder deep through various legal entities that are, chasing her down. Election fraud, FBI criminal investigation, perjury, corruption at the Clinton Foundation. That's what a vote for Hillary Clinton gets you. But going back to Jill Stein and the concept of third-party votes, and the Ralph Nader demonization, terrorization, gaslighting. I need to remind people because the thing is, some people can't really remember back 16 years very clearly, and so they're making up their own narrative. They're revising history and turning it into a fairy tale of something that it really wasn't, and leaving out a lot of detail. But unfortunately, for some, I'm a recovering C-SPAN junkie. Every day I watch ballots being counted for some reason. I still don't know. So I was, very much engaged and aware during the entire Ralph Nader Bush Gore contest. And this is what we realized about that contest. The problem was Al Gore. Policy wonk Al Gore, fully capable intellectually of being the president, since he had spent 8 years as vice president. He had experience at the executive level in a, assistant position, vice president position, and still he lost his own state of Tennessee. He was born there. He was a legislator there. He was a senator there, and he lost Tennessee, his own state, his home state, the state where he was the native son. Al Gore lost Tennessee, and every elector that was in Tennessee he lost. Also, he chose. And about Tennessee, I knew there was something I was forgetting. Bill Clinton carried Tennessee twice. So what was the problem? Al Gore was part of Clinton's administration. With Bill Clinton, he was able to claim a win of Tennessee while he was on Bill Clinton's ticket twice. Al Gore was. Without Bill Clinton running his own campaign, because Bill Clinton didn't campaign for Al Gore, the whole Monica Lewinsky thing was still fresh. Al Gore didn't want to have much to do with Bill Clinton, and he didn't get along with Hillary Clinton either. So Al Gore pretty much ran his own campaign, and he lost Tennessee, the state that he carried twice on Bill Clinton's ticket. So was that Nader's fault? Was that Bill Clinton's fault? Maybe it was George Bush's fault, since George Bush is the one who won. Whose fault was it? It was Al Gore's fault. Whatever he lacked, it was significant enough to where he couldn't even carry his home state. That Bill Clinton had put into the win column twice in the two previous administrations. Al Gore also chose Joseph Lieberman to be his running mate, who was to the right of Al Gore. And Al Gore was center right himself. Joseph Lieberman was even further right than Al Gore, and that meant that he left his progressive flank open and vulnerable and unaddressed and ignored. And again, whose fault was that? That Al Gore chose Joseph Lieberman, pivoting to the right, moving to the center as a strategy that cost him the election. And we see Hillary Clinton doing this, and she can't even figure it out either. All she knows is pivot to the right, move to the center, move to the center. That only worked for Bill Clinton. It didn't even work for Barack Obama, because Barack Obama ran as a progressive. He ran as an anti-war peace and, freedom and be nice and let's, hold hands kind of candidate. And not until after the election did Barack Obama move to the center. So it was not the right strategy, and it cost Al Gore votes. Al Gore choosing Joseph Lieberman as his running mate, was that Nader's fault? Was that Bill Clinton's fault? Was that Hillary Clinton's fault? Was that Al Gore's fault? It was Al Gore's fault. It was not Nader's fault. Joseph Lieberman cost Al Gore votes. The electorate was not excited about Lieberman. He was too far to the right, and Al Gore needed votes from the liberal base, and he didn't get them. Let's see. So let's talk about Florida, because that's, Bush Gore Florida, Nader, Bush Gore, it's like a truth universally known, but is it really known? A lot of details get left out, but let's look at it really. Bush, Nader, Gore. Here's the thing about Florida. In Florida, Nader pulled approximately 1% of the Democratic voters, and then he also pulled about 1% of the Republican voters. So he pulled from the left and the right. So he cost votes from Bush. He cost votes from Gore. But here's what you really don't hear. 13% of Democrats in Florida voted for Bush. Those 13% of Democrat voters that voted for Bush cost Gore Florida. You need to find out their names, call them up, and blame them for Al Gore losing Florida because they didn't vote for him. They voted for Bush. Al Gore lost those votes. Ralph Nader took 1% of votes from Al Gore, 1% of votes from Bush, and then Bush took 13% of Al Gore's votes. So Bush cost Gore the election, not Nader. And so that's just keeps getting put out there, but it's not true. It sounds like a catchy little phrase to, a vote for Nader was a vote for Bush, and Nader caused the Iraq war. Wrong. You're gaslighting. You're lying. You're just making up stuff that you heard from somewhere, and it's not even true. Get out a history book. Get off Twitter and get out a history book and read it and learn what really happened. Here's what also happened in Florida. We had a lot of vote purging. Famous Catherine Harris, the Secretary of State, purged a lot of voters from the rolls, but that's not all what happened. We also had the ballot counting and, let's stop the vote because this is ridiculous and it's dragging on and, it's hurting America. And so the vote counting stopped and went to the Supreme Court. And then, the Supreme Court made their ruling. But here's the thing. There was still an opportunity for Gore to win the election. One by one, members of the Congressional Black Caucus, some of whom represented Florida, they were representatives in Florida, and then, all across the nation. I remember Jesse Jackson Jr. was one of them, and I think Maxine Waters, and then some representatives from Florida. One by one, they went to the microphone, they went to the floor in Congress to request a cosign from at least one senator. All it would have taken is one senator to co-sign with the congressman to overturn the vote into Gore's favor. It was just one by one. I couldn't even count. Maybe 20 of them went up there to request a senator, and most of them were African American. I would say, if my memory serves me correctly, they were African American. They went to the microphone saying, "Will you please sign this so we can get this vote overturned and have a rightful count and, put Gore into high office?" Gore gavelled them down. Each and every one gavelled them down. And he even kind of threw out a little smart remark to Maxine Waters, because Maxine Waters was like, "Well, I don't care what anyone says, we need to," and Gore gavelled her down. And then he said, "Well, the votes care," and something like that. He was snarky with her. And so he gavelled down his own chances of getting into the presidency. This was Al Gore. Ralph Nader did not make Gore do that. That was Gore's decision to do that. And then also the senators who sat in the chamber and just sat there staring at members of the Congressional Black Caucus. Hillary Clinton was one. One by one, these people approached the microphone and said, "Can you please sign this document?" And Hillary Clinton had just joined the club that year. She was voted into the office the same year that George Bush was voted in. And so she was very proud of herself. You could see it on her face. She had that smug little smile even back then, 16 years ago. And one by one, Congressional Black Caucus came up and said, "Will one of you senators please sign this?" And they just sat there smug and condescending. Go back and get the C-SPAN clips. Look at their faces. They're smiling at the Congressional Black Caucus like they're children, like they're little children that need to go take naps and just sit there staring, not saying a word. And Al Gore is gaveling them down. And so George Bush won. And Al Gore cooperated in that, not only before the election with all the decisions he made, with not using Bill Clinton to campaign with him, to also choosing Joseph Lieberman as his running mate, to not being inspiring enough to carry his home state of Tennessee, to strategically or unstrategically leaving his entire left flank open for a challenge on the left, and to not having the strength of character to stand up for his voters and have those votes counted. Al Gore not only cost himself the election, but he assisted in the disenfranchisement of everyone who voted for him. So Al Gore is at fault for what happened in 2008. It's not Nader's fault. It's Al Gore's fault. Al Gore takes responsibility. So, the vote for Nader, the vote for Bush, no. Al Gore. Go back to C-SPAN. Go back to LexisNexis or something. Find some documents. Get off social media and read the facts. Al Gore cost the Al Gore campaign the election. Al Gore disenfranchised the people who voted for him. Al Gore stopped the count. Al Gore gavelled down the Congressional Black Caucus that wanted to recount. Al Gore did all of that. So that was his choice, and so he cost himself the election.